dig me, put y'all on game, right? I want to let y'all know something about this healing and transformational thing that you're dealing with, right? It ain't for the weak. It ain't what you think it is, right? A lot of people have this misconception that healing means that when I get my stuff together, because I started off this way once upon a time too, that when I get my stuff together, everybody's going to like me. I'm going to be cool with everybody. Family's going to see me the way they're supposed to see me. My relationships are going to be beautiful. Me and my friends going to get along and all this and all that. And usually people start getting in their feelings when they find out it's the opposite way, right? People start getting in their feelings when they find out it's not going to go that way. What happens is when you start to do that work that you're talking about, you're going to realize why people have been acting this way. It's going to illuminate why, what version of you was attached to them, what version of you brought them in your life. That's what's going to happen when you do this self-work and all of this. You got to understand, you're doing self-work. That's the law of the universe, the self-work, the internal work. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You're in a whole different group now. You're in the spiritual world now. It's totally different now. You're detached from the world. You're detached from your ego. You're in the spiritual land now when you're doing the internal work. Everything is different. It's over with. That programming that all over with. You got to face all your programmers and all of that, right? This is what I want y'all to understand. Healing does not mean there will be a different you or a better you. Healing means that you're going to become current with the you that you already are. It does not mean that you're going to be a different you. It just means that you finna see the you. You're about to see the you that you've always been this whole entire time. That's what healing is. It's not about, I'm going to start loving myself and none of that. No, you're going to start loving yourself when you start having certain reality, when you start having certain coming to certain realities and certain perspectives about who you've always been. Not who you're becoming, but who you've always been. And then when you realize who you always been, then you'll realize why you always received that treatment, why you was always treated this way, why you always had these problems. That's how this works. Healing is not about becoming somebody new. Healing is about realizing who you've always been. Now, the difference, this is how it works. You got the you that you've always been and the you that you see yourself as. The you that you see yourself as is the one that's in relationships. They got friendships, best friends, family issues. That's the way that you see yourself. But your reality is the solution to the way that you see yourself. Because the way that you see yourself was created because of rejection, because of disrespect, because of abandonment, because of heartbreak. That person is then going to look for a solution to those rejections, to those heartbreaks. So they get into relationships. They got best friends. They have family issues. They try to search for validation from the world and all of that based off the way that they see themselves, because that person is in survival mode. But the you that you are is already structured. Don't need that attention. Don't need that validation. Everybody already sees who you are. Don't need all those, because the you that you are is in abundance. The lifestyle that you are living is the answer to the rejection that you received. This is what the situation is. Who you are versus who you see yourself as. And on the road of coming to who you are and knowing who you've always been, the detachments of what you had will end. Relationships are going to end. Family situations, you're going to fall out with them. Your marriage is probably over. The problem is people think it's about getting better to be better within the system. No, the system is over once you do the work. The system is done once you make the transformation. The system is, you're out of programming and you're in truth. Once you start that truth, you can never go back to the lie. Hell, I'm going to be honest with you. The music you listen to is probably going to be different. You're going to start listening to certain lyrics and you're going to be like, yeah, nah, I'm good on this. Everything's going to start changing when you start doing the internal work, because you only like those things because they were solutions to the rejection, to the heartbreak. The music that you like, the food that you eat, the places that you go, the clothes that you wear, the people that you hang around, the relationships that you're in are all solutions to the lifestyle, to the version of you that was rejected, that was betrayed, that was hurt. You understand what I'm saying? When you start coming to your reality of who you always been, all of those things are going to change, man. And that's why people feel like they're in warfare. That's why people feel like, oh no, I'm going. No, because now you're finding out who you've always been spiritually. You're living in the truth now. You're going to be on the side of purpose. You're probably going to wind up leaving your job. Your marriage is going to probably be over. Your friendships is going to be over because you was only in those things because of the way that you saw yourself, which was your programming. You're now out of programming and walking in truth. This is the warfare that you're talking about. You're not in warfare. You're coming to your truth. You only pick those things to be solutions of the way that you saw yourself. And the way that you saw yourself was a low vibrational energy. Whole time functioning as a high vibrational being. Not understanding that people were beefing with you, not because you was a low vibrational energy, but because you was a high vibrational one. And you're around low vibrating people trying to move with the common folks and do what they do. No. You can't know. That's why you're having issues with them, because they see you as a high standard person that's in a low vibrational energy, and they think you stunting on that. You're going to find that out as you start to become in an awakening of realizing who you always been. This is why you was getting treated this way. This is why they was doing you this way. Not because they didn't like you, it's because it felt like you were stunting on them, because your high vibrational energy was trying to become one with the low vibrational situations. And you see yourself as a low vibrational situation while looking at them as high vibrational energy. And that's what you're going to find out. Healing does not mean you're going to become somebody different. Healing means that you're going to find out who you've always been. Who you always been. That is healing. Chances are everything is going to be over. Your marriages is going to be over. Your friendships going to be over. You're going to lose your job. And those are the areas where you're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm in warfare. No, you're in truth now, because you was in programming before. You was lying to yourself. And that's the reason why you was having fallouts in situations, because you thought that, oh no, I'm in warfare. The devil is attacking us. That's why we going to. No, you're waking up in truth, because you was only that because of the programming. You're no longer in programming. You're going to be in the law of the land. You're going to be in the real world. You're going to be attached to the real thing. This is when you're going to start seeing synchronicities. 1-1-1-1, 4-4-4, 3-3-3, 12-12, 2-2-2. That's because you're waking to the truth. You're not going back to that program. Once you start, it's on. So that's the real truth of healing. That's the real truth of this thing. So people want to do the work up to a certain point. I'm just trying to make sure my marriage works. When you do this healing, you're going to realize you probably should have never been in that marriage. You pick these people to attach to your trauma. You don't really like this person. You're selling it. You're going to find this out. You're going to find out a lot of the things that you tolerated in situations when you say, oh, relationship has a ups and downs and this. You're going to find out that, no, those were just your programming. When you step into your truth, you realize, no, I shouldn't have never had those many problems. I'm not that bad of a person to love on. You're going to realize that. So I need y'all to understand that. So y'all can try this healing thing if you want. That's fine. That's cute. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to have to live in truth. And truth means that those were your programs. Things are going to end. Like I said, jobs are going to end. Relationships are going to end. There's a 95% chance that that's what you're going to face. And it's very, very rare that once you do real transformational work that you're able to keep the things in your previous life. It's an awakening. When you go within, you start to see the truth. Everything in your reality will change when you start working within. When you stay without your programming. Remember, programming, truth. Programming, truth. So when you're picking people as a solution to your truth, you're going to be in your programming. But when you realize that you and your creator are the solution to your truth, it's the internal conversations that's happening in here that brought you to this place to make you say, I think I need to work on myself. How do you think you got to the yourself situations after dealing with people? Why do you always find yourself with yourself when things end? Why do you find yourself saying the exact thing that you need to work on once you leave a particular energy? Because that energy was sent here to illuminate that version of you, to show you that there's a reason why the moment something ends, you find yourself saying, oh, I need to start working on myself. I need to start working on my discipline, because that energy came to show you what you're lacking in discipline, what you're lacking in self-love, what you're lacking in self-esteem, lack of boundaries, all of that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you a heads up on that. This is not for the weak. But at the end of the day, when you make it over that hump, because you have no choice, you're going to make it. When you make it over that hump, you will never be the same again. You will be on purpose, because you're now living in truth. Love.